to another episode of Field Phone Ops. Today we're going to finally take a look at the National Socialist German Workers' Party FF33 field phone. I've been wanting to do this field phone video for about 3 years, but it's taken me that long to finally sit down and get one of mine to work. So sit back and I hope you learned something. Well, here we go. This is a German World War II FF33 field phone. These were basically built, one of the first things that when the Nazis took power in Germany in the early 1930s, this is one of the first things, their military upgrades, believe it or not, was the field phones. And they went to basically a simple, rugged approach. Previously, all the field phones they had wooden cases and leather cases, so this was like a fantastic thing for the 30s, using Bakelite for a case. This is the standard build, latches on front. This right here is where the, help you could hear the bell ring. It had 2 patch ports in it. We could plug patch cords in it. This phone didn't come with patch cords. They're issued with patch cords, a actual leather carry strap, a grounding rod for doing ground return field phones, and a sheath and a battery, and that was it. Well, this one didn't come with the when I got it didn't come with a patch cord, but this is the patch cord out of the Czechoslovakian field phone, and it will successfully plug into that right there. I'll probably need to try it out sometime, but I think it'll work. That's basically it. These were built by about 20 different companies during World War II. Several of them, most of them were in Germany itself. There was a company in occupied Czechoslovakia and in Paris that was occupied that made them. Roughly about 1.5 million were made. The green stripe on here designates a change that was made on the inside in the late 30s, early 40s, where they changed the microphone element and they changed the transformer that the microphone element connects to. We'll go ahead and open it up. Like I said, Bakelite case. This is it. Has the actual schematic on the inside. Handset with the PTT on it. Handset is removable. Just pops right off like this. Be placed on there, interchangeable. Depending on who made the phone is which kind of cords you got. This is a single cloth covered cord. There are cords that were made. Some of them had rubberized cloth, or actually standard rubberized cords. Some had braided cloth cords. So depending on who made it is where you got the what you got. Hand crank right there fits in the end piece. This is where your field wire connected. These phones were capable of operating as a single ground return field with only a single field wire and a grounding spike, or they could function with 2 field wires. Battery compartment used a spare type battery. I'm just using a 2 AA's right now to make it work. Fairly rugged and waterproof. They're designed to be used closed. That's what these rubber pieces were right here. You put the cord through that like that. The phone could sit on the top like that. Had stand up so you wouldn't key the phone. They also had adapters to plug in naval style headsets, individual just hand or single earpiece if someone wanted to sit and monitor it. And like I said, with the patch cords themselves, you could plug several phones together. They could plug it into radio equipment to operate the phone, or operate the radio equipment using the phone. So it's pretty handy. And actually, the more remarkable thing about this is the Russians copied this during the war. The Soviets actually made the TAI-43 is basically a Soviet copy of this, but the Russians put them in wooden cases because they didn't have Bakelite. So like I said, this was sort of the standard. After the war, a lot of countries kept using these because they had so many of them that were left when the war was over. A lot of countries almost copied them and made similar ones to it. Like I said, the Soviets, the Poles themselves made a version of similar to it. The Czechoslovakians made a phone very similar, and so did the Hungarians. So it was copied. It could sort of be called the grandfather of the modern field phone. I'm going to go ahead and shut down and hook it up to my trusty EE8 and we'll actually make some phone calls. Okay, I have it connected to my faithful EE8. A few more things about the interior of the phone itself. As the war went on, the Germans changed their process or procedures to streamline and make things quicker, of course, during the war. And this case, the chassis is actually made out of stamped steel. You can see it rusted really badly. I have another earlier phone that was made in 1940, FF33, and it had a different type of metal and it looked a lot better. It still works good, it's a little bit rougher except the rust. Like all the FF33's got the test button right there, so if you're short these, push this right here, crank on the hand magneto, it tests your magneto and your ringer that would ring. It also has the unadulterated, I call it, Reich Adler, which is that small stamp you can't see unless you look at it really close, of the swastika within the eagle's talons that was on all German equipment. And a lot of countries that kept using these after the war actually defaced that. Cigarette burns or files or scratches, so you can see some it's actually scratched out. If you see when it's scratched out, usually means it came from another country that had been occupied by the Germans and kept using the phones after the war and wanted to sort of denazify their system, so they scratched it off. This one still has it. I'm going to go ahead and we'll close it up. Like I said, it's got the rubber gasket, the rubber seals here on the end. You'd run the field phone and the handset cord through and close it, and now the unit pretty much is waterproof or weatherproof, so that's how you can operate it in the field. First thing I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll call from the 33 to the EE8. Got a pretty good robust generator in it. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. Test 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3 4 5. Get an idea of how the audio sounds. Now we'll go back the other way from the EE8 to the FF33. Not a really loud ring. What I discovered on this when I was trying to get it to working, it took hours. I actually had to go through and trace each individual wire. There were some broken solder joints inside that you couldn't see because, like I said, the German quality, they had everything. The wires inside here all were bent precisely and fastened together with a wax string, so it was very tight. So I actually had some broken solder joints that, because the wiring was so tight, you couldn't physically see it. I actually had to use a multimeter, actually went out and traced every circuit out. But one of the things I came across is one of the coils, there's two coils that run the ringer, is one of the coils has got an open in it. So that's why it's not a strong ring. It's got two coils that alternate, and with the one coil bad, I had to jumper the lead so only one coil works. That's why you don't get the real steady ring. I don't know if there's anything I can do about it. I probably could look online and see if I can find a separate, another ringing unit, but this one works for my purposes, so that's where I'm going to probably leave it like this. Like I said, after the war, several NATO countries that were occupied kept using these. They basically threw them back in a closet or a back room and used them as a backup to the backup. You know, if they needed to set up a quick checkpoint or something, hey, go grab some FF33s and a piece of field wire out of the back room, and away you go. Also, they're very, the parts are interchangeable, so if you had a room full of FF33s, you could probably use them what was in there by swapping parts and stuff, probably get several units that would work. And that's it right there. This is the German FF33 field phone. Thanks for watching.